All right, another episode of Conversate After Dark. Tay, what's up with you?
Everything's going good with me. What's going on with you?
It's all good. It's all good. Tell people where they can find us.
You can find us at Conversate After Dark everywhere. And if you would like to be a guest on the show or you have a topic you want us to cover, you can reach us at CVAD, the podcast at gmail.com.
That's right. Go to our website, www.conversateafterdark.com. Listen to our past episodes. Make sure you tell a friend. All right, Tay, let's do the icebreaker.
If I was to interview your exes, what
Oh.
would they say about you?
Dramatic, sensitive, a good man, good guy, but definitely dramatic and sensitive.
Okay.
That's they, but they bring that shit out of me. So if they was able to be my piece, then I wouldn't be that way.
Hmm. Okay.
What would they say
So you
about
don't blame that on you, on them?
yeah, like I mean, we talked about the book attachment styles, and I think now I am secure. I think I waffle between secure and avoidant, and I feel like the person you're with kind of can determine what you are.
Hmm.
That shouldn't be the case, but I kind of feel like that's the case, especially when you are trying to be with somebody or you are dealing with somebody and like it ain't really gonna work.
Hmm.
It's cool for a temporary thing, but it ain't gonna work. So, and I know a lot of guys do this where you may deal with a chick, y'all go out, y'all hang out, y'all may even do the grown up, but you do things to make her not like you too much. Like you may say something to let her know, like, okay, now I'm not gonna be with you, right? You don't want to flat out just say, I'm not gonna be with you, but you may do, the book what they call de-escalation strategies. I think that's what they call it. Uh,
Hmm.
you just do like little passive aggressive shit to keep them from falling head over heels for you. Um, and I've learned that at this age, and this is a good spin-off question, after you give your answer, that's
Okay.
not really cool to do. It's
No, it's not.
probably not cool to do at any age, but especially not at this age.
Yeah, it's not cool to do ever because it's just like you. It sounds like you're playing with people.
Now, I wouldn't say it's playing with people, not like playing mind games. I think it's more so just so now at this age, I'm pretty straight up honest with folks. Like, I want to be with you. We're probably not going to be together. You had that conversation.
Hmm.
I've kicked it with people who we both mutually agreed, like, hey, we're just having fun, and that's it. I think, in one situation in particular, we both kind of had to like check ourselves at different times because, we started to, I guess, violate the rules of engagement
Hmm.
as to having more feelings or expressing, like jealousy or different things like that. But we both were able to like self-regulate and bring it back. But now I'm not doing that. But I did find out, like, especially like right after I got divorced,
Hmm.
and it bit me in the ass. And don't say nothing, Tay. It bit me in the ass majorly because I had a person who I felt like liked me, but I didn't necessarily see a future with that person, and then I started liking the person. But because I kept saying, "Hey, we're not," we just I was saying a joke, but it was serious, and I was like, "Yeah, we just together for cuffing season. This is a cuffing season thing." And then cuffing season ended, and my contract got terminated, and I was hurt. I was hurt, but I deserved it. I
Yeah,
just,
you
I
do
deserved it.
because okay. So I always hear guys say, for guys telling you this is what he wants, believe him. And now you're mad because she believed you?
Okay, so you missed the point where I said things changed.
No, I get that. But did that conversation come up? Did
It didn't. And I talked to about my boys because I had a hard time getting over that.
mm-hmm.
And my one of my homeboys said, "You just mad because she broke it off with you.
Mm-hmm.
Had you broke it off with her, you wouldn't even be tripping. But the fact that she got you first, that's the reason why you all hurt about this shit." And I was like, "You think so?" He was like, "I know you. Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's the fact that she quit you for another guy and you feel some type of way about it." And, you know, I always preach accountability. I've never not taken accountability for the situation that I created because it was right there for me to have, right? In hindsight 2020, there must have been some things that I saw that I was like, okay, long term, we probably not gonna mesh. You ever been with somebody that's like, damn, they a good girl, and we have a good time, but it's like certain things, like I think over time these things may become bigger deals. And for me, I've learned not to look over those things. I don't consider them red flags, but they're just things that like get on my nerves and piss me off. And I don't know about you, Tay, or I don't know if you know this about me, Tay. I can't be short on patience. And the last thing I want to do is be mean to somebody and short with somebody because I've had that done to me. And that's not a good feeling to be in a relationship with somebody who you feel like, damn, I feel like I get on this motherfucker's nerves, right? And here you are liking them and they kind of like rolling their eyes or doing little things that let you know, like, hey, man, like you getting on my damn nerves. So I never want to be like that to somebody. So it's a lesson learned. It's a lesson learned.
Okay.
Don't judge.
I'm the least judgmental person out here
Yeah, but you judging right now.
sometimes.
You judging right now, though. You judging right now.
No, I
You
just
holding back.
what you're saying, I don't think is I don't I'm not sure if what you're saying is lining up with what you think you're saying. But
Like,
it's
explain. So I can.
because like you said, you told her it was this way, but then you got upset when she went along with what you told her. I mean, I don't and then yeah, then it's I don't know. It sounded like you were playing with people before you got into that specific example. I don't know.
No, it wasn't.
And
No,
then we started this all because you said your exes didn't bring you peace, and I was like, okay, well, is that on them or I mean, I
okay.
don't know.
I can see somehow, some way I transitioned into that one little thing. But
Yeah.
so I was joking about them not bringing me peace because ultimately
Hmm.
I had to have peace within, period. Back to that particular person. Yes, I did purposely. Is that how you say it? Purposely? All right.
Hmm.
On purpose. I did try to keep the stiff arm on purpose because I did feel as if, nah, I don't know, man. Long term, she probably gonna get on my nerves. And then, you say it enough, motherfucker gonna take you for your word, right?
Hmm.
And Jody called and said, "Hey, I like you, I want you." And then next thing you know, the shoe was on the other foot. Instead of her liking me and me being like, it was kind of like, hey, wait a minute, you acting different. And then it was like, well, I've been meaning to tell you, Jody on the corner, he got everything, and then it's like, oh, then I wanted to be hurt. I fully admit that it was all my fault. She didn't do anything wrong, but I was still fucking mad about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Tay, answer the question.
I was actually trying to avoid it, but I think different ones would say different things about me at different like you mentioned, people can bring certain things about out of you. So I think I was slightly different with everybody, but I think one strain that's kind of gone through is that I can be let me say I can appear nonchalant because I don't always express my feelings. Um, and that's with everybody, not just romantic relationships, but I know that it has not been good in romantic relationships, but I do think all of my exes would say I'm a very good person. They all have fun with me, that's it. But when it comes to expressing my feelings, I think they would say I'm very nonchalant.
So I think we've said it 1,000 times on the show, but I'm gonna say it again because of what I'm about to say. Tay and I have never been in a relationship, nothing like that. Okay. At this age, I don't want nobody who's fucking nonchalant about me. Um,
I said it appeared to them, but I wasn't. I wasn't.
I got you, but perception becomes reality, right? And if I tell you, I don't know how somebody would communicate that you're nonchalant. Like, hey, you nonchalant. I don't know how you had that conversation. To me, it would be like this girl just don't really care or really give a damn if I come or if I go. And if that's the case, then I'm going to maybe not be as committed to the relationship, or I may, start looking at other options if I feel like, you are a take it or leave it person. And that's how I feel like nonchalant is. Like nonchalant's kind of just like whatever, you know. Um, I think it probably should have been like this our whole life, but especially at this age, I want somebody that's into me, like happy to see me, happy to be around me, and I want to be the same for her. So, nonchalant, and I'm sensitive too. So, if they nonchalant, that probably will hurt my feelings.
But
And
this is why I go back to saying that their perception was that. So I've always said I'm a quiet person. So people don't always read me. And sometimes I feel like I'm showing something and maybe that person isn't getting it. And it also comes back to love languages, because I do remember one relationship where, hindsight looking back on it, we just did not communicate. Was funny because we started off communicating very well, meaning talking, but I think our love languages weren't meshing well. I didn't know how to reach him, and he definitely wasn't reaching me. So I think we passed each other that way. But I go back to being quiet because I feel like I show it, but maybe, and like I said, it's different with different people, because I do think with in some relationships they saw less of that, less of the nonchalantness
yeah, I got
from me.
you. Yeah, yeah.
but but I mean, that just goes back to me being quiet. And I hear Capricorns, we're often perceived as being non-emotional, which is not true. We just don't wear our heart on our sleeves like that.
You're the opposite of us Pisces.
Exactly.
Yeah, the opposite. So it sounds as if both of us probably could do things differently, right, in a relationship. I'm not gonna say we're wrong or anything because we are who we are. So at least,
I've grown because I don't think the last couple of relationships I've had would say the same as the first couple.
but that's, and I'm not trying to challenge you on this, but I'm just asking the question. But isn't that like how you are as a person though?
But
Like,
you can still grow
yeah,
because
no. You can grow. And I've always said, like, okay, everybody knows, everybody in our circle knows, okay, Tay's quiet, right? But when Tay is engaged in the conversation, she's very insightful. I mean, you got the fucking podcast, right? I'm not just talking to myself. But I don't think you're nonchalant just in a relationship. You nonchalant, maybe it's just with me, but you nonchalant with me, right?
because I'm just a chill, laid back person.
And that's
A
what I
lot
mean. If
it
that's
takes
if
a
that's in you, how are you going to change that? Because like when we get comfortable, we go back to our most normal state. And if yours is just chill and quote unquote nonchalant, how are you going to fight that on a day to day? Like that'd be like me saying I'm gonna stop being sensitive and overreacting to shit.
it
That may
also
it may work for a little bit, but if you get tired, if you get stressed or whatever, you're gonna go back to your normal self.
maybe. But when you grow and you change, you don't always go back to how you used to be. Because I know that was something that was told to me in the past. In my later relationships, that was something that I was intentional about trying to show more of my emotions, more of how I was feeling. Um, there was another point I was gonna say, and you made me forget. Oh, it also comes with people learning me because I can say I had one relationship where just on a telephone conversation, he could tell if something was bothering me. And I'm one who I don't even talk about stuff when it's bothering me and it's like outside world. Like I kind of hold everything in. But he learned me. And so he was able to tell my different moods and emotions even with me being quiet. So it takes intention on both parts for because if I stay nonchalant forever, I'll be alone forever. But that's when you get in relationships, you have to kind of learn your person, learn what idiosyncrasies they have, learn how to mesh with them. I mean that's something that has to be done no matter who you are, no matter what your personality is. If you choose to be with somebody, that's something that's going to take work. And I have no problem doing the work. I mean, one of my reasons for being a commitment phobe was that I don't see a lot of people wanting to do the work.
Okay. You know what I learned from this conversation is that even if we wanted to, you and I could never be together because my sense of as you'd be quiet and I'd be like, "What's wrong? What's wrong? Are you mad? Are you mad?" And then you'd be like, "Nah, motherfucker, I'm chilling," and it would just be a constant cycle of me being like, "Oh shit, she's upset," and you like, "No, I'm just chilling."
There was this one situation I was in. Again, I'm quiet. And then the job that I had then, we would have these real busy. We had seasons of the year where we were extremely busy. So yeah, I can't talk, I can't, and then I'm already quiet. So they would accuse me of falling back. And that wasn't the case.
Mhm.
I'm just quiet and I'm busy at work. Like I check in,
Yeah.
but the checking in wasn't good enough.
Mhm.
But it is what it is.
So let me ask you this. So we
Mhm.
have a relationship podcast, sex podcast. And there's a lot of podcasts out here. Paul Pierce, former Boston Celtic, he played for some other teams, but he's most known for being a Boston Celtic. He's got a podcast called The Late Night Truth or something like that, and they had Dr. Cheyenne Bryant on there, and she had some hot takes. She's known for her hot takes. She was on a Cam Newton show. She's with Nick Cannon, and she kind of I think that's really she really like became popular on social media when she went on those two shows
Mhm.
because she really I don't want to say gave them the business, but she was really critical of their approach to relationships and, fatherhood and things of that nature. A lot of people were either on her side or they were against her, right? More people were with her because they don't agree with how Nick and Cam approach relationships. So she's on Paul Pierce's podcast and she's talking about, I think one of the takes was if a man doesn't wear a condom all the time, he doesn't respect himself. And another one
Okay.
is she didn't want to be in a relationship with a man who had children because that's a form of polyamory. It was like, what? And she was like, yeah, because you're gonna have a relationship with the child's mother. I'm paraphrasing, and that's a form of polyamory. And I was kind of like, I don't know with that. But at the end of the podcast, Paul Pierce was like, yeah, so what's up with you and your relationship? And she's real forceful when she's making her points or whatever. And I'm gonna say, Paul ain't the smartest dude, in my opinion. He does
Mhm.
not. He don't come up as like the sharpest pencil in the box. But he flipped the script on her, and it wasn't confrontational. But it was kind of like, well, what's up with you? You giving all this relationship advice? Why aren't you in a relationship? And she started stuttering and stammering, talking about, well, it's been 5 years, and she just didn't have a really good response. And people was kind of like, yeah, because a lot of people think she's a fraud, and I'm not really sure about that. You do? Okay, we'll go with that. So like, a lot of people were like, man, she's fraudulent. I don't say she's fraudulent. I think like with anybody, when you have a podcast and you're putting your opinion out there, that's easy for people to poke holes in your theories or whatever, and you got to kind of just be prepared for that, right? And I'm a person that says take what works for you and then leave the rest. So I don't really worry about whether she's a fraud or not. She said she's got credentials. You remember they was going after Dr. Umar, and
Yeah.
he proved that he had his credentials or whatever. But do you have to be, let me get to my point. Do you have to be in a healthy, solid relationship to be out in these streets giving relationship advice?
I think it depends on how you give it. And this, I say this because I don't know, for some reason, when she first came on the scene, I was all in. I was like, oh, she talking facts. But as the more I got to hear her talk, I kind of started getting Derek Jackson vibes and some of those other guys like that.
Derek, first of all, Derek Jackson never left that car. And
I'm not talking about
we immediately, us men, immediately knew Derek Jackson was full of shit.
women, some women too, because I didn't care for him from the beginning either.
Okay. Okay, I'll cut you off.
No, I won't say that. The first couple videos I saw of him, I was like, oh, okay, he's speaking facts. And then once I noticed he was always dogging men, I'm like, you don't like it's got to be a give and take. And I don't like generalizing people and just downplaying everybody. I don't like that. So he turned me off from the beginning. Not saying she does that, but I do get those similar vibes from her. Not just Derek Jackson, but people like him, guys like him. And I think a lot of things she says, I don't know if she believes them. They sound like hot takes to me. You know, that's the thing right now to say a hot take
That's
so
the
you can
thing, though.
go,
Yeah, that
yeah,
that's
so you
my
can
main
go
issue with
viral.
her. It was like it don't even seem like she's really authentic with the shit. It sounds like she's saying
That's my problem.
new to get, and I'm not trying to bash her.
Hmm.
I don't think she's, I don't think she's problematic for the most part. I don't really see her out here bashing people, like bashing men, bashing women.
Hmm.
She's fair, but it did seem inauthentic because it seemed
Right.
she was just okay. I know this is going to get me likes. This is going to get engagement, so I'm going to say it.
Right. And that's why I go back to take it off of her. That's why I go back to I think it depends on how you're giving it and what you're saying. And I do remember there were a couple going back to her for just for a second. There were a couple things she said where it sounded like when she was in relationships, she did this and it's the best thing you're supposed to do. When I think when you're giving advice from that perspective, like this is what I did, but you're not in a relationship.
And not only that, she's been in a 5 year situationship.
Right. Right. So it's like, how can you give advice saying that I did it the best way and you're not in a relationship to prove that your way works?
So Sandy said exactly she doesn't have a man, and Sandy said she has gotten weird. I don't know
Mhm.
about weird. I just think that people are finally seeing through what we're saying. Like,
Yeah.
do you really believe what you're saying, or is it just kind of like this is how you keep? She's an attractive woman. She presents well, but have you noticed? Speaking of, there's a way to deliver things. Have you noticed? And Lord, people gonna get mad about this, but I don't really care. You notice that a lot of the shit that Kevin Samuels was saying, people are now saying in a repackaged version, and motherfuckers accept it.
You know what? I never had, okay, so I never, I didn't have a problem with what Kevin Samuels was saying a lot of times. My issue was with how you say it. um, I don't know. That was always my issue with him. And then I understand clips can be skewed and it may not give you a whole picture, but when he came out, it was like he was always dogging women. I didn't see the clips of him dogging women, dogging men. They didn't come out till later and they didn't get as viral. So again, I'm like, I don't like people who just come out and dog everybody. You don't have anything good to say. So So what I'm saying is there were a lot of things he said that I can agree with. It was just his delivery.
I think 95% of the shit he was saying was right. I don't, like I said, nobody's 100% correct. I do think the way our society has been built, that we've been conditioned to say there's a certain way that you talk to women.
Hmm.
I know that a lot of men, I'm in a fraternity, I manage a Facebook group. I know that there's a lot of men who don't like me. And the main reason they don't like me is not because I'm not a likable person, because I know that I'm a likable person. It's because I feel like men, iron was it steel sharpens steel, iron sharpens iron.
Hmm.
I really am just like that, matter of fact and candid when it comes to men, when it comes to man shit. And you do have to change your approach with most women, because they won't receive it. And if your goal is to get them to understand something, then you need to package it in a way that they're going to receive it and take it in. Now, I feel like Kevin, he because he talked to men actually worse than he talked to the women.
Hmm.
He talked bad to the men, but so many women were triggered by how he talked to the women, and they totally missed the fact that these women were calling in to subject themselves to the shit,
Yeah.
right? And on some of the stuff, he was like, hold on, you got 6 kids, and you want a man that makes 150,000 a year, and he can't have no kids, like what you're not living in reality. Now he was more eloquent than me and more acerbic and sharp with what he was saying to them.
Hmm.
And I think what it did, it really triggered people because they probably had maybe a father to talk to them that way, or an ex that maybe talked to them that way, right? And that triggered his delivery triggered them.
Hmm.
And I think he got vilified because of that. To the
Yeah, he
point
did.
where to the point where he died prematurely, and people was rude. They were like celebrating that shit.
Yeah, I remember that. I
I was like, dog, what kind of person are you to do that?
Yeah, I don't go along with that type of stuff. I just think because
Unless you racist ass Hulk Hogan, you get all the jokes. I still ain't gonna celebrate. I'm not gonna celebrate, but we ain't shed no tears.
that's kind of I don't celebrate anybody's untimely
Nah,
death,
because that shit could come
but
back on you, right? But
yeah, yeah, and I just don't think that the religion in here. I don't think that that's how God wants us to be anyway. So I can't do that. So even if it's my worst enemy, I'm never going to celebrate somebody
yeah, but I may not give a
something
fuck
like that.
though.
Yeah,
I-
yeah, yeah. And I didn't shed a tear for Hulk Hogan. But going back to your original question, outside of doing it in a way that makes people feel bad or doing it in a way where you're trying to make yourself look better than everybody else, I do think that there are things within relationships that you can apply no matter where you are. You can apply it to a parent relationship, a child relationship, a friend relationship, a romantic. There are just certain relationship dynamics that you can apply overall. And I do think in that respect, I do think that somebody who's not in a relationship can give advice. There's just with everything, you have to take, you know, don't take no one is at 100% correct. So you can't take everything somebody says to heart. But I do think somebody could give advice.
I okay, I agree with you to a point, and I'm gonna read you Sandy's comments. Sandy said her favorite video of them was when Kevin Samuels asked the dude, "So you don't know if you got a big dick?" He said, "You don't." I think he talked to the same dude. He was like, "So you 5'5", you 300 something pounds, you a fat fuck." Like he used to give it to the dudes, like for real.
Right.
I will say this, and when that whole Will Smith Chris Rock situation happened, when Will smacked the shit out of Chris Rock, and people were had all these opinions about him and Jada or what have you, and you witnessed this because you saw the battles I was having, Tay. And I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you ain't never had a wife, I don't give a fuck what you have to say in terms of your judgment of how Will Smith decided how he was going to defend his wife. If you've never been married, you can't really talk about married shit. Now, if you've been married and divorced, okay, we may take it as a caveat. Like, okay, well, you ain't good at being married. You got divorced, but you been married, right? But that's like me talking about somebody else's fraternity and trying to tell them how they should be a better member of that fraternity. How the fuck I know?
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think if you're talking about how to do specific things, that's it, it won't work then unless you're a licensed therapist. Because I do think that they can talk to because they have the tools. They've learned the tools to do that. But I do think there are
I ain't even
general
kind of question that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't. How fuck you know? Because it goes back to Cheyenne Bryant, right? She up here talking about a relationship, and you've been in the damn situationship this whole time. You've been in a friends with benefits situation with a young dude. So basically, you just like the dick.
I mean, that's true.
And I don't
But
have a problem. And I don't have a problem with Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. But I do recognize, like, yeah, you kind of full of shit though.
yeah.
And
But
she's not as and she's not as entertaining. She needs to be more entertaining than she is in order to pull off what she's trying to pull off. Like, yes, she's easy on the eyes, right? Okay, whatever. But with Instagram, you don't know this because you were a young lady. But as a young man, all we had growing up was the Jet magazine, the Jet Beauty of the Week. That's all we had. We was gonna see some little skin on a woman, whatever. Now you seeing half naked women all on, depending on your damn algorithm, all on your Instagram, all on your Facebook. So just being a beautiful woman is not enough. You got to be entertaining. Say what you want to say. I'm a fan of Dr. Umar, whether motherfuckers agree with him or not. Umar is engaging and entertaining. Because at least I know gay people, I know motherfuckers that's in interracial relationships. And you know, Umar's against all of that. And they
mhm.
love Dr. Umar. Why? Because he's entertaining.
Okay.
She got to do better.
I don't know nothing about the lady. I see inauthentic when I see her. So I don't pay much attention to her.
Sandy said, if Sandy said, tools are fine, but if you have never used them, I'm suspicious of your counsel. That's what I'm saying.
And that's why I say even with married people though, you can't always take their advice. So that's why I say it depends on the person, depends on what they're saying, it depends on how they're coming at you. It depends on a lot.
Yeah,
Because all married people can't give you good advice either.
because here's the first thing you know when you get married is that your marriage is your marriage. Meaning, if my boy, so I had a situation one time, and I hold myself accountable to when I'm dumb. My boy's wife, like, she would cook every day. She would like do different things for him, supporting his little endeavors or whatever. And I was young in my marriage, and I said we're gonna call her Monique. And I told my wife at the time, well, Monique does this. Why did I do that? And she read me the fucking riot act. Well, Monique don't go to work. Monique stay home mom. Monique blah 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 blah. And as soon as I said it, I was like, yeah, yeah, you
But
deserve it.
see, this is the thing.
So what works, and honestly, I wouldn't want my wife to be stay at home. I wouldn't want my wife behind me all the damn time. I want her to have her own life, her own thing going on. That would drive me nuts if everything that my wife had to do or look forward to centered or hinged upon me and what I had going on. So I learned a valuable lesson right there that works for them. That don't mean it works for me. And you can't compare the two. You got to have your own marriage.
I get that. I gave my cousin that same advice. I've never been married, but he was talking to me about some things that's going on with the engagement party and stuff like that. That's the advice I told him. What you and your fiance, now your wife later on, the rules and the boundaries and the how y'all want to operate in your marriage, that's how y'all do. I've never been married, but that's the exact advice that I gave him. So is he not supposed to listen to me? Because
Well, I think you gave appropriate advice. You was like, hey, I can only take you so far. It's like a
but that's why I say it
it's like
depends
a motherfucker
on
who been trained to be an elementary school teacher trying to teach high school trigonometry. You only been trained to do elementary shit. So stay in
right.
elementary school.
But look,
Teach them.
so I hate talking about the church because it sometimes it sounds like I don't love the church, but I do, and I love being a Christian, all that stuff, blah blah blah. But in the past, you would have married couples telling women that they needed to stay in relationships where they may have been abused, where there's infidelity going on, because nobody's supposed to, separate the marriage once it happens. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Even married couples, you have to take what they say with a grain of salt. Everybody is not going to give you good advice just because they're in a certain lane in life.
I feel you. I think that those things are extreme. And I think
It's
most
an extreme, but that my point in bringing that up is that happens. Even the example that you just gave, there were married couples who were saying your marriage should operate like this. That's not your marriage is your marriage, and what happens in your marriage is how y'all.
okay. So there are certain principles that can work across the spectrum, right? Um, and it may not work for 100%, but it may work for 80. So it's still good advice. And then the extreme things that you talked about, like Ray Charles could see, like, girl, you need to leave his ass, or dude, you need to leave her. She treating you like dirt, whatever, right? Because abuse can go both ways. Um, I think that yeah, you have to be wise in who you choose to listen to
Yeah,
as well,
exactly,
because there are married fools. You
exactly.
you're very correct. But I will say, until you said I do, until you walked down the aisle, or until you sat in front of that justice of the peace, because I don't give a fuck how long you've lived together, y'all cohabitated, y'all shacked. When you get married, it changes. And people will be like, well, we lived together for all these years, and I've defended, when I was talking about Will Smith and all that, and I've defended the women in my, nah, it's totally different when you got a wife. And I can't explain it. It's like Fight Club. You got to be there. you know? So Joe said, I have to agree that brother's entertaining. Joe talking about Dr. Umar. Joe
Yeah.
don't ever like Dr. Umar. He talking about the Umar entertaining. yeah. So
But for the most part, I do believe, even though I say it depends on who, and there are certain principles that anybody can give you. I do believe that. But I do also believe that there are certain things where you have to go to somebody who's had the experience, even if they're divorced, because even through a divorce, you can still teach maybe what not to do, maybe how to do something better, different.
I'm in,
And I say that because if you want to go to a certain level financially, sometimes you got to change your circle. Sometimes the people you grew up with might not know what to do. When you have a baby, somebody who's never had a baby, not gonna be able to tell you how. So there are things that if you've been in a certain lane, you should be the only person able to give advice in that lane.
okay. So let me ask you this. Can married people hang with single people?
Depends. If I am not one of those single people who wish that my friends' relationships don't work. Matter of fact, I'm usually the person saying, no, you need to try to work that out. I'm not going to put my married friends in situations that would jeopardize their marriage because I value marriage. Even though I've never been married, I do value the sanctity of marriage. So hanging out with my married friends, I would never put them in a situation where their marriage could somehow be compromised. Everybody's not like that. So I think it depends on the people.
Have you ever had a friend that got married and they said, "Well, girl, I can't really hang out with you like that no more because you're not married"?
Um, I did, but it was I can honestly say in that situation it was more so her mother, but that's a totally different situation.
Not the husband? Okay. Wow.
No, it was her mother. But anyway,
That old school mama said, "Hey, you can't be friends with her no more. You got to find you a married woman to hang with."
it was a little bit more to it than that, but
I got you.
I'm not gonna get into it. But yeah. But other than that, no.
I think that I mean, there's certain boundaries that have to be maintained, right? Like you can't just be out every weekend at the bar, with the guys, and because there's only so much that you can say no. There's temptation all the
Hmm.
time, right? And if you're married, you need to be focusing on your family. I don't think it's right to totally like drop a friend or um, ignore them or say, hey, listen, we can't hang anymore because you're single and I'm not, so I'm going to hang with her homegirls' husbands. I've seen dudes do that where they kind of stop chilling with their homeboys and next thing you know they buddy buddy with her homegirls' husbands. It's like y'all motherfuckers don't even have nothing in common other
Hmm.
than y'all married two women in the same friend group. Like you don't if y'all weren't married to two friends, you wouldn't even like that dude. So to me, that's some punk shit. But um, I like your approach as because right now I'm the single dude. I'm the single dude, and all my boys are married. And I'm also Uncle Marv, so they got kids or whatever. And I think for most of us who have sense, you don't want to be that person to put your friend in a bad predicament. You don't want to be that person that's blamed for breaking up a marriage.
Hmm.
I wouldn't want that on my conscience.
Especially at our ages. Like I could see
Because it ain't
people
shit
in
out.
their 20s.
It's hard to find something out in this motherfucker. So why would I bring you out here with me in the struggle? Now you better stay where you got something warm. Y'all better work that out.
Right. I could see people in their 20s maybe getting caught up in situations like that, but the older you get, the more you should know
Yeah.
who you can hang out with and who you can't.
Right. You're right. Joe said a wise man once said, "Take what works for you and leave the rest." I'm me.
Yeah.
That's me, the wise man. That is how taking advice as a married person works. Yeah, I mean, you definitely, take what works for you and then throw away the rest. For sure, for sure. All right, so Tay,
Hmm.
I got a nasty or normal before we end the show.
Okay.
It's gross.
Oh gosh.
Well, it depends on your jam. You might like it or not. You might like it. You might. I don't know if we talked about this before. We may have talked about this before, but we'll talk about it again. Spitting in your partner's mouth. Nasty or normal?
Nasty. Ill. Nasty.
You yucking
There's
that, you yucking that yum? That's a yum that you
I'm
don't
yucking it for me. If other people want to get down with that, that's on them. I'm not doing that. And I understand when you're kissing somebody, you're swapping spit. I get it. But it's different when somebody just spits in your mouth. There was a
That's like me. I don't like tomatoes, but I
mhm.
fuck with ketchup and barbecue sauce. It's the form and that you
It's the form. Right. Because I like French fries, I like potato salad, but don't give me no mashed potatoes. I don't want it. It's the same type of thing. But there's a couple that I follow.
you don't like mashed potatoes. What the fuck you eat with your fried chicken?
I mean, I don't eat, I try not to eat a lot of carbs now anyway, but there's other things than mashed potatoes. Actually, which is funny, my mother always teases me about this. I love a good baked potato. And pretty much once you mix everything in it, it's a mashed potato. But for some reason, I don't know. I don't like mashed potatoes. I've never
You
liked
know,
it.
black people they put all kind of milk and cream in their shit and butter. Yeah.
That may be why, I don't know. But so there's this couple that I follow. The guy is a comedian. He and his wife were on this podcast, and it was a relationship sex podcast like this. And I do try watch a lot of those. So the conversation was good. The couple who hosted the podcast, they were good. So I was like, okay, let me follow this. Their logo is him spitting in her mouth. I unsubscribed because of that. I don't is
The
nasty to
logo
me.
was that?
Huh?
Their logo?
Their logo is an outline. It's not them, but it's an outline of, of their bodies. And he's like,
Ugh.
yeah. So
I ain't
I
gonna,
unsubscribed because of that.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I was watching a good ass porn scene and they started doing that spitting in each other's mouth shit. I turned that shit right off. Ugh. Nah, I can't do it. I can't do
And
it.
don't spit in my nether regions either.
Now that's fire though.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
You ain't never spit on a dick?
Spit. That's no, actually, no. The spit is in my mouth, so it gets everywhere when you're doing that.
No,
But
I'm talking about the hot tour on the dick.
no, 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 no. I've never done that. And I don't want that done to me. No.
Damn, Tay. You missing out on that.
I don't like spit. So, no. I deal with it in kissing because I like to kiss. But yeah, otherwise, no, don't do that.
Yeah, I guess that's another mark against me on the what's that little BDSM test we was doing?
That's what it's called.
When they said I'm vanilla, I was offended when they said I was vanilla. I was like, freak, what you talking about? Just because you motherfuckers like to have pain and doing some slave shit. I'm sorry, that's some yuck in the yum. But nah, but yeah, that ain't she would have to be a hell of a woman for me to try that. Cause I think I've said that before on the show. Like probably the right woman could, other than some gay shit, like pounding me with the strap. Like I might consider everything. I'm never considering that. Hey, you gay? I had no problem with you. If you like to get hit with the strap, I had no problem with you. It just ain't. It ain't for me. It ain't for me. But the right woman probably could get me to do about anything. But here's the thing: the right woman, but not that right woman, probably could only get certain things from me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not into BDSM, but in the past, there was one woman. I was like, I'd do it with her.
Hmm.
I do it with her. Um, the spin in the mouth, I had to be like in love, like nose wide open in love. And she would have to sweet talk me. I remember my brother tried to give my ex-wife some advice, and he was like, "Hey, all you got to do is sweet talk him. He gonna do whatever you want. Just sweet talk him." But she couldn't figure it out. She was just like, "Why you don't know that? Why you don't know?" He was just like, "Hey, look, just give him a little honey, and he gonna do what you want." So the right woman, she might be able to sweet talk me into that shit. But then I'm gonna have to have her sign an NDA. You can't tell nobody you spit in my mouth. Could the right man get you to do it?
No. At this age,
Who your celebrity crush?
he just passed away.
Theo.
But no, there's another one.
Theo was your.
Lorenz Tate and Malcolm Jamal Warner have been my longest black celebrity crushes.
Hold on. Because we're gonna have to get a new co-host. I don't play those games. I don't play those games. Who'd you say other than Theo?
Lorenz Tate.
You like
But
short?
both of them were married, and yeah, so
How
not
tall?
that that
How
matters.
tall was Theo?
He was kind of tall. Yeah, Lorenz Tate is the exception that I would take for somebody being short. He's the exception. But but I do think Michael Jamal Warner was tall. I'm not sure.
he might
He
be
looked
tall
tall.
in comparison because everybody else in the industry is
It's
short.
short. Yeah. Yeah.
Malcolm Jamal Warner, rest in peace, Theo. Malcolm was 5'11".
Really? I
So
mean,
so what does that mean, Tay?
in your opinion.
Now you said it too. Don't try to change it because it was Theo. You said it too. If you don't have a six in your number, you fucking short. Am I right? No disrespect. I love Theo. Rest in peace.
Majority of my relationships have been with people under 5'11". So
You 5'11", you short, my dude. You saw that one dude was like, he said 5'10" is the tallest of the shorts. He said,
no,
because
that's still maybe it's because I have dated guys 60, like my first boyfriend was like 6'1". So maybe it's because I've dated guys that were over 6 feet. When I meet a guy who's like 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", I can tell the difference. And it does feel kind of like this is cool, but it could be cooler.
well, what the dude was saying was like, he said, if you 5'10", you the tallest of the short people. He said, because like motherfucker be like 5'7", 5'8", and lie and be like, I'm 5'10", and people be like, all right, you ain't really 5'10", but you at least you're not saying you tall. He said, because like motherfucker 5'11" is gonna lie and say they 6 foot tall. And most people will let them make it.
Yeah.
Most people will be like, yeah, you know. Do women lie about their height?
I don't know too
Or
many
is it
women
just dudes?
I think dudes lie about the height. Women, men and women, we're the same, but we express the things differently. So I think we both lie about things about ourselves. Like a woman would lie about her weight or her age, maybe. But her height, I don't hear a lot of
Y'all
women.
can't lie about that age though. There's two telltale signs. Yeah,
Not
yeah.
with black people. And
No,
that's across the board.
even with black people. You want me to tell you the two telltale signs?
I know you're gonna say the neck,
And what's the other one?
the hands,
The
usually.
motherfucker. Yeah, the neck and the
But I still say with black people, it can be hard telling their age a lot.
Okay. I don't want to get in trouble with the women on the show, but yeah, and I don't really think people lie about their height. Short dudes lie about their height.
Yeah.
Short dudes lie about because I got a homeboy that swear he 5'6", and I'm like, you're not five. I'm gonna rock with your lie, but you're not 5'6", bro. You're not 5'6". No, no, I am. But I do think that most of us as people don't know our true height. So yeah,
I, I
so
mean,
but some of because like some people like you like oh, I'm 6'3", I'm 6'4", and then you go to the doctor and
that's what I'm saying. Are these people
the
not going
doctor
to
put
the
that thing and it'd be like you're 6'2". You're like nah, I'm not 6'2", I'm 6'4", right?
right?
I don't think people really know because like I'm 6'3". And people swear, like, dog, ain't you like 6'5", 6'6"? I'm like, no, I'm 6'3". And for tall people, me being 6'3", like 6'3", I'm like in the 98th percentile of the planet, right? But for like tall people, I'm like considered like a short tall.
Yeah, I get it.
6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", 6'3" is kind of borderline. But
Hmm.
6 foot, 6'1", tall in my tall groups are like, all right, then the short guys.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
everybody else is like, damn, motherfucker, you tall as shit.
Right. Do people not go to the doctor? Because I swear when I go to the doctor, they measure me. So I know my exact height, which is why I can put the half there because the nurse put the half on.
I go to the doctor twice a year for like my annuals. So
Hmm.
my annuals. And then I go for other shit. They don't measure your height at this age.
The last time, not the last time,
They measure your weight and your blood pressure. They don't be measuring your height.
time before last, I went to the doctor. They took my height.
You got an old school ass doctor.
But it may have been because I did change doctors. Maybe that's why. I don't know. I'm in the same system, healthcare system, but I don't know.
Okay. All right. On a serious note,
Hmm.
we just talked about him. Um, rest in peace to Malcolm Jamal Warner. That was such a blow, such
Yeah.
sad news because he's such a positive dude.
Yeah.
Um, I told people, I think I made a post before how like I can't remember what it was, but some people was talking about how like they consider like Theo a lame or whatever. But I was like, I didn't see that. You know, my age, we kind of looked up to Theo. Everybody wanted to be Theo.
Hmm.
You didn't want to be dyslexic, you know what I'm saying? But Theo had cute girls, you know what I'm saying? Him and his boys was cool. He dressed fly outside when he got that shirt from Denise, you know? And so it's just like he represented that he was that first for our age group because there was other TV
Hmm.
shows before us, but he was the first for young black men that represented a positive image that didn't, you know, and I'm not trying to diss Urkelanda, but he didn't have to buffoon. He wasn't some short person like Webster or Arnold or anything. He was a regular dude, and
Hmm.
he was that positive image that we just didn't see.
Yeah. But
Um,
I've heard Malcolm Jamal Warner said he actually considered Theo corny at one point in time.
That I think that's what I was talking about. He thought they
Okay.
was corny, and I remember I was shocked. I was like, what? Why? Why was he corny? Just because he wasn't like out in the streets, wasn't doing drugs, or and what? Theo got in trouble one time when the dude put the joint in his book bag, right?
Yeah.
He got. Remember, the dude was like, he said, "Well, come on, let's fight." Theo, yeah, that was damn. That's such a loss, man. And
Hmm.
prayers to his wife and his daughter. That's
Right.
tough. This is really really tough, and I
Yeah.
think all of us collectively were grieving.
Hmm.
I call him Theo. You know, you somebody when they call you by your. He's got other. What was he? Was he? He was Malcolm on Malcolm and Eddie, and he did some other
Hmm.
TV shows or
He was in The
whatever.
Resident, which I never watched, but my aunt swears by it. She loves it. I watched him on other things. He had just started this last season on the show I watched called Alert. They brought him in as like the new chief of police or captain, chief captain, police captain. Um, so and now he was on 911. He was in this show called Accused. Like he's done a lot of other things. His music, he has a Grammy.
Mm.
He was doing spoken word, so he's done a lot since Theo. It's just people love that Theo character.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Um, I kind of knew he was doing those things, but it's hard for me not to see Theo.
Yeah.
So I never really gravitated to like the Malcolm and Eddie. Was it Malcolm and Eddie show?
Hmm.
Um, that was on UPN, and I was in college at the time, and you know it was kind of hard to find it. So was that it wasn't Malcolm and Eddie? Was it Homeboys in Outer Space? Was that
No, it was Malcolm and Eddie.
okay? So
It was him. It was him and Eddie Griffin.
who was on Homeboys in Outer Space? That was
Yeah.
Flex and somebody else.
Hmm.
But he's just always gonna be Theo to me, man. And you know, I could keep talking about him, but we'll go ahead and wrap up the show. But rest in peace, Malcolm Jamal Warner. So tell
Yeah.
people where they can find us.
You can find us at ConVersate After Dark everywhere. And if you would like to be a guest on the show or you have a topic you want us to cover, you can reach us at CVAD, the podcast at gmail.com. Make sure you like this video, share it, subscribe, and leave us a comment. Answer some of the questions. Let us know your business.
And make sure you go to our website, www.conversateafterdark.com. Listen to the past episodes and tell a friend about the show. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Denise.